moving off onto the reappearance of someone, which is Anthony Yarde, out on October the 19th. This is an interesting.
You're going to get us in bother now talking about Anthony Yarde, aren't you?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because, you know, there was all this controversy about Queensberry and Anthony Yarde and arguments going on between Yarde and Tundi and Queensberry and not wanting to fight for them again, and potentially if Boxer got involved and scheduled a fight, that there was going to be all kinds of ramifications. And I've been privy to some of the temperature of that. Yet here we find Anthony Yarde fighting on October 19th. I mean, the most important thing is I like him as a fighter. So however he's engineered a situation, whatever the ramifications or whatever may come further down the line, if there is to be some blowback from aligning himself with if he has indeed aligned himself with Boxer, it's good to see him back in the ring, isn't it?
Fantastic to see him back in the ring because he has that charisma. All the things that you were talking about before, he does have the viral moments, he does knock people out, and he's a very likeable lad and you want him to do well. I just find this whole situation a real shame because I personally think that Queensberry and Frank have done really well.
So do I.
I think
2 world title shots.
Mate, they built an unbelievable career for a lad that didn't have a massive amateur pedigree. They got him 2 world title shots. He's had a good fist of it.
And they backed him after he lost to Lyndon Arthur.
Come on. So I from the outsider looking in, I think they've done a wonderful, wonderful job. I'm not privy to the conversations. I'm sure you are, but I'm not privy to those conversations. I don't really know what's gone on. But sadly, in business, if you've signed a contract, you see the contract out. After that contract, then you can have a new discussion and we can move it in different directions. I just think Anthony Yarde right now, because of this mess, is missing out on some massive, massive opportunities. I mean, when it was 5v5, could it have been him in there fighting the likes of, I don't know, whoever they've got in their light heavyweight division? There's a potential fight here with Joshua Buatsi.
Well, that's what it leads to, doesn't it? I mean, that is the fight I would suspect that certain people will want to be made. I'm pretty sure Josh Buatsi wants that fight. I'm pretty sure Boxer want that fight. And if Boxer are engineering opportunities to make fights with Anthony Yarde, then it's a logical conclusion. Whether the legal ramifications of Queensberry's purported position re-emerge again, if there is an indication that Buatsi versus Yarde is going to be made and it becomes a 2-fight deal rather than a 1-fight deal, we will see. But if we can...
You can only have one tune-up. If he's going to work with Boxer, you can only have one tune-up. He has to fight Buatsi next.
But if it leads into Buatsi, it might find itself in a contractual situation where Queensberry re-emerge and we're not seeing the smiling Queensberry that we're seeing now about allowing this to happen. We might see the snarling Queensberry that were purporting to sue everybody and everyone if Yarde gets into a ring not represented by them, which is, in effect, what's happening.
Yeah.
But as far as a fight's concerned, that is the fight that we want to see. That's got charisma, energy and crossover all over it, isn't it?
Well, it also distinguishes what comes next, I suppose, for this division. We've got a super fight in our hands this weekend. These 2 guys are the kings in Bivol and Beterbiev. Crack on the boys, do your thing. But as you've rightfully said, they might call time. You never know. They might call time in 6 months, 12 months' time. So therefore, those belts will be scattered and be thrown all over the place.
Because Buatsi is the manager for the WBO and he can call it now, can't he?
Right. So then, will this be a world title fight in 6 months' time because of a situation with the belts and what have you? So it is the, I don't want to say the best of the rest because the 2 guys at the top are the elite, but it's the next generation coming through and will distinguish who the number 1 is.
Paulie, where are you on Anthony Yarde?
I like Anthony Yarde. I think he's a fun fighter. I think he's good for the weight class. Just below maybe a world championship level where the weight class is right now, but he's got potential under the right circumstances to possibly win a world championship. I do think it's a shame when you have these outside the ring, court issues and whatnot. But I'll say from the other point of view, I'll say from the fighter's point of view, regardless of what Queensberry may or may not have done for him, if his contract is done, his contract is done. You know, obviously Boxer are feeling that his contract is done and they can take him to that fight. And Queensberry may feel like they may have some options or whatever on the contract, and he's got to fight for them. Again, I'm not privy to the conversations.
Matching rights is the argument, Paulie.
What is it?
Matching rights is the argument.
Matching rights.
Yeah.
Okay, so matching rights for if they can match the purse for the fight, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, regardless, that's something they'll have to have their day in court. Regardless, one or the other, it's a time where you hope you can see Anthony Yarde because he's not the youngest guy, right? I mean, he's not just gotten over here on the scene. You know, we know who he is. He's been He's got a reputation to be a fun fighter in a weight class that could
33,
use some.
Paulie, 33.
Yeah, exactly. 33. So you want to see as much of him as you can. These kind of layoffs that are caused by these kind of court battles or outside the ring politics, they take away from, not just the fighter's ability to make money, but also from the fans' ability to be able to be entertained and see these guys. And it hurts their branding because a promoter lasts 30, 40, 50 years. A fighter only has that window. So he's got to get busy as much as he can. So hopefully we get to see Yarde soon.
Talking about who we have seen or will be seeing, or have seen actually more to the point, was Nick Ball. I think Nick Ball is an outstanding fighter. I think he won against Ray Vargas. He certainly won against Ray Ford. And ultimately he won on Saturday night. Both of your opinions on Nick Ball, the performance on Saturday night against Ronnie Reyes, and ultimately what comes from him next.
This is what I mean about being made for telly. About capturing the imagination of the casual fight fan. If your friend is a football fan and they're not into boxing, and you take them to go and watch a Nick Ball fight, you're constantly on the edge of your seat because the kid is trying to take someone's head off non-stop throughout the whole course of the fight. Might be to his own detriment because he does get clipped a little bit himself, but he's proving that he's got a wicked chin. He is absolutely fantastic to watch, and he's on the cusp now of maybe securing himself some absolute monster fights. And I use the word monster because there's a guy with a nickname that might move up to this division at some point in the not too distant future that might stumble across a world title shot, and Nick Ball might be the guy that holds those belts. I mean, that would be absolutely sensational if it is Naoya Inoue that steps up in weight. Nick Ball, sit there. Come on, son, let's have a rock and roll.
Paulie, I mean, Nick has been in some long fights and difficult fights recently. Is there a danger for him that that's going to catch up with him a little bit?
I think it will. I think if you fight like that, you probably shorten your prime or you shorten your career. But that's all. The only way he knows how to fight is one way. He goes. It's a go get you kind of style. Listen, this guy's really short. When I first saw him, it reminded me sort of like Gavin Rees. Remember Gavin Rees back in the day? He was really short and he was able to win a world championship. I'm like, right, England produces these kind of short, stocky guys that win world championships, But Ball is super entertaining. I really enjoyed his fight the other night against Rios, and I've enjoyed him thoroughly. He's not the guy who wows you with a crazy amount of skills, but his stick-to-itiveness, his go-get-you mentality. I mean, you look at the first round in that fight the other night, and he's throwing overhand rights and left hooks within 10 seconds. I mean, he's not, usually you're feeling it out. You're putting out jabs, you're putting out feints. This guy's throwing power shots within 10 seconds of the fight. He's looking to throw combinations, So he goes, gets it. He's entertaining. And it's like you said, Adam, it's about, you want to take a friend of yours who might be a casual and you want to get him into boxing. You look for a fighter like this to take him to that fight, because also Ball doesn't have that crazy monster power where he's going to end the fight in one night and you're going to say, in one round, and you're going to say, I didn't see anything. No, the fights last with Nick Ball, they're entertaining throughout. So you get your money's worth as well. I mean,
yeah, he is small. He's one of those that can limbo under a table on Cuban Hills and a top hat. But is he? Do you see him getting a rematch with Ray Vargas? Because I think some of the stuff that came out of Ray Vargas' mouth after that fight about fighting Nick Ball in his hometown was just utter nonsense. And he lost that fight. And he wants and Nick wants a WBC strap.
Yeah, I think that's the logical next thing, because there is doubt over that particular fight. I thought Ray actually started really well in the fight, then Nick came on,
caught up with him.
Yeah, and put him down on a couple of occasions. I think for the division, that's the logical next fight. It's a unification now. So let's bring them together. I mean,
I got another unification though. I like Angelo Leo as well. He's kind of short and stocky too, and he has that goal.
You just want to see carnage, Paulie. I can see it. You just want to see some serious carnage there.
Listen, I don't mind Ball going after Vargas. I think everybody except for 3 judges thought Ball beat Vargas. I don't understand how that decision wasn't given to him. But in terms of stylistic, I think it's more fun with Ball and Leo, because Leo also goes and gets you the same way. I guess we want to see carnage.
But you're right. I mean, look at what he's done recently. He fought Isaac Dogby, which was his coming-of-age night, where you thought, hang on a minute, there's more about you than just being this wrecking machine. And then he's had 2 back-to-back world title fights, obviously coming through and getting the belt off Ray Ford. I think go back for Vargas. But I like what Paulie's just said there. Let's just have some pure carnage.
No, I think it's brilliant, and I think he deserves
and that's unification too.
Yeah, absolutely. The unification next, defo.
But I think, listen, I mean, some criticism was laid at the door that it was a homecoming for him against a slightly softer opponent.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But I think he earned the right to have a fight where it isn't, albeit it went 10 rounds, albeit he dropped him in the 3rd and 7th and probably made it a little bit more difficult than he needed to. But the point is that he came out and did his job and he'll go on. Right, listen.
In Rios as well, a former world title challenger. You're not talking about a taxi driver from somewhere.
No, I know, but
absolutely below the level of his last 3 fights. Next one, let's go for a unification, as the boys have been saying.
Right. That's it for episode 90 of Talk Boxing with Simon Jordan and Adam Catterall. I want to thank Paulie Malignaggi for joining us in America, and we'll see you guys next time we're out.